Hi YouTube, here's a chance to have a great pair of scissors and a saw in your pocket, all in one great multi-tool. So let's get on with the unboxing. As you can see here, the Victorinox knives come in a fairly basic box. It's a Huntsman. Let's take a closer look at it. So, opening the box, we have the usual insert, which gives you an idea of how to use some of the tools. It's pretty standard. I'm sure you've seen these before if you've got one. So, looking at the knife itself, the first thing that strikes me is that it's quite a big boy, this one. Quite a chunky knife. It's 3 layers, it's a decent size, and the weight, compared to some of the other knives I've got, is quite heavy. I quite like it in black too. It makes a change from the red, a bit more classy maybe, a little bit different. We'll be taking a closer look at all of the tools. But I think the logo looks really good against the black. Here you can see the comparison with some of my other Victorinox knives. So the Huntsman, the Pioneer X, the Walker, and the Midnight Manager. And just to turn them on their side, so you can get a bit of a look at that. Let's see if I can get this to work. You can see it is by far the thickest of the 4 knives. Even though the Pioneer X is a 3-layer knife as well, this is quite a bit thicker. Can you see here? So we'll take a closer look at the tools, and compared to the Walker, it's both larger and quite thicker. And of course, next to the little Midnight Manager here, yeah, it's quite a lot bigger. Let's go through some of the stats. So the weight is 96 grams or 3.4 ounces. The length closed is 91 millimeters, which is about 3.5 inches, and the height is 21 millimeters, so that's a little bit over 3/4 of an inch, I believe. You can see here the 3 layers, and then also 3 layers on the back, and with the scale tools and the keyring attachment as well. Looking at the main blade, it's got a nail nick to open, and it's not very nail friendly. It's not easy to grasp without using the nail nick. So there's the blade fully open. If we take a look at it compared with the Pioneer X, you can see it's a similar size. Maybe the Pioneer X is slightly bigger. It's not quite as thick as the Pioneer X. Can you see that? So the Pioneer X is definitely thicker, but it's a decent size. It's quite chunky. I think you can see that, yeah. So it has the officer Swiss, and small blade is about 1.5 inches or about 35 millimeters, and it's super sharp. I'm not going to run my thumb along it. As always, the Victorinox knives come really sharp straight out of the box. Let's have a look at some of the other tools. as well as the two knives, we have the scissors. So these are the same size as the ones on the Pioneer X. Really good size, always sharp. If you look at my video of the Victorinox X, I do a demo on it, so it's exactly the same as that. And then the thing that I really wanted with this particular knife is, if I can find it, is the saw. And the saw on this is really good. Let me just show you the one on the Walker. So if you see them next to each other, you can see that the one on the Huntsman is actually larger. You can see I was using this yesterday. We had the fire pit going and cooked some sausages and marshmallows over a fire with the children and grandkids. So that's the Walker that I was using yesterday, and here's the Huntsman. You can see it's a little bit larger. It's a really decent size. It's about 72 millimeters, or that's somewhere between about 2.5 and 2 3/4 inches. And it's amazing how well this cuts. I've tried the Walker, and this will cut just as well. It has really good double set of teeth there. Hopefully you can see that. Very sharp, cuts very cleanly. If you look at Felix Imler's channel, he's just done a great video on how to use the saw blade more effectively, using a lubricant on the blade, and really goes into some great details about how to hold the knife and how to hold the piece of wood that you're cutting as well. So I certainly recommend that. I'll try to put a link in the description. But if not, check out Felix's channel. I've learnt so much from watching it. So that's the saw. So this is one of the few knives that actually has a saw and scissors. Another example would be the Farmer X as well. And there are a couple of other knives that have the saw and the scissors. Here are the other tools on the front. We have the can opener with the Phillips, well, it's a small flathead, but it also doubles up as a Phillips as well. So the flathead is about 2.5 millimeters, but it's equivalent to a Phillips number 2. It works very well on that. And then on the other side, we have the larger flathead, which is about 6 millimeters or about 6/32. It can also be used as a pry bar. You can see it has a little bit of a narrowing there. It's got the cap lifter and the wire stripper or bender. So those are all the tools on the front. Let's have a look at the back. It has a corkscrew. It doesn't include the small eyeglass screwdriver with it. Of course, you can buy that separately. And it has the hole here for the pin to go in, but it didn't come with the pin, so I might add that later. I'm quite excited because this is my first Victorinox that I've had in quite a while that has the parcel hook. So I'll be looking at some of the uses for that. And again, if you look at Felix Imler's channel, he's got quite a few options for how to use this. So I'm going to do a little bit of research, see how I get on, and maybe make a video about that later. So that's a parcel hook. And then there's also the awl or reamer, and on this one it has the eye in it as well. Actually, compared to the Pioneer X, I actually prefer the awl on this. So I like it because it's at the end. I like the shape and the profile better. It doesn't have the hole but I think it's more useful there. I think this would work as well, but I think you have to be careful about using it without it closing. But for making holes in wood or leather, it will work very well, and it's pretty sharp. So that's all of the tools on the back, and as usual it's got the standard scale tools with the toothpick, and the tweezers. So I think that's a pretty good loadout actually. Oh, there's the split ring and the eyelet as well. I don't really count that as one of the tools. I know that Victorinox like to. So what are my thoughts on this? Well, it's quite heavy, certainly compared to the Pioneer X. It's a little bit heavier. It's a bit thicker as well. You know you've got it if it's in your pocket, but when you're using the tools, and particularly for the saw, you actually have quite a good grip, quite good to hold on to. So I think that's going to be fine for that. And certainly I think this is the cheapest option to have both the saw and the scissors in this size. So I'm going to be trying it out, using it outdoors, seeing how the saw goes. I think this is quite a good crossover actually between the urban EDC that I normally have with scissors and the more sort of rural EDC where you need to have a wood saw as well. I'll be trying it out. I'll come back in a few months' time just to let you know how I've got on with it. I'm certainly pleased to have got it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm always interested to hear. I've learned so much from the comments, from my videos. I hope you like it. If you do, please hit the like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.